I sense an okay film. I sense some creepy ass moments. But I also sense some dumb characters. And a stupid ass rating. I also sense happy accident. What's going on, guys, and welcome to my review of Tarot, the latest horror adaptation, and the latest I was a little bit hesitant to go to. I always say be your own critic, but I heard that as soon as this came out, it had an 8% Rotten Tomatoes score, and it went up just a little, only to like 20%, and it's probably up to 30 by now, but it did not do good, critically, and as far as financially, I would imagine it probably is because it was made for a dime, pretty much. But I was a little hesitant. But I go back and thinking to myself, that would break my number one philosophy. Be your own critic. So I took the leap. So essentially you have a group of friends who huddle up in this house in the woods that come across this deck of tarot cards that pretty much curses them as they are picked off one by evil entities. So, as I said, I was a little hesitant of this. When it comes to demon possessions and ghost stories in general, it just hasn't really been doing that much for me, unless it's Evil Dead. But I gotta admit, despite what everybody else is saying, I may be on an island on this, despite what everybody's saying about it, I actually enjoyed it. There's actually some moments where I was actually surprised on how much I actually enjoyed it. Seriously, I was expecting to hate this just as much as I did Night Swim. So with that being said, let's get into the positives. I do gotta admit, the one character I liked in this, which we'll get into later for the rest, but the one character I liked in this was Ned from the Spider-Man Homecoming series. Jacob Batalon. He definitely had his moments. That's one character that I definitely got a chuckle out of a few times. I don't know if this character was intending to be the comedic relief, but I like the way he handled himself. As stupid as he kind of acted later on during the film's runtime, I actually enjoyed that character. He was the one that actually shined for me. And not just because he was in the MCU and the Spider-Man Homecoming trilogy, no. His character actually resonated because he was one of those that you just gotta have that one friend out there that's just kind of like the class clown. That's how he came off to me. And I really did enjoy that. I really did enjoy his performance. Not just because of the character he played. I think he's a pretty cool actor. There was some creepy moments in this to where I do admit I did feel generally creeped out at certain scenes to where there were certain demons I was coming after certain characters, and I like the way a lot of those scenes played out. There's a big negative side to that I'll get into here in a minute, but I really did enjoy like a lot of the creepiness and the atmospheric surroundings that surrounded the characters and what was going on. I really did enjoy that. There were some moments to where I did jump occasionally. I did feel like they kind of overstepped it just a tad. I did enjoy the vibe that it gave out. Just all-out tone that it was bringing. I really did enjoy that aspect. And some of the demons that was coming after these people, these kids, was actually quite satisfying. There's one that was in a jester costume, I believe that's what you call it, like, kind of looks like a clown with, like, weird things popping out. And it kind of made me think of the Joker. I really did enjoy that. And there's another demon to where it looks like he was like the devil. And then there's another demon that looked like really weird, a magician type demon. And all these entities, it actually really helped my viewing experience on how creepy this movie was. And I really did enjoy that. Now, as surprising as this movie was for me, I was expecting to like it a lot less, but there was still some issues I had with it that I can't ignore. So as I dive into the negatives, there are certain characters in the film to where, despite its warnings that's basically laid out like a neon sign, would do the dumbest, most stupidest, irrational, beetle-headed, and most idiotic decisions ever. Almost to the point where it became a cliche of itself. Now, I know in horror movie history, that's pretty much known, But when your characters that are dealing with cursed objects and warning signs up the wazoo, that basically drills it in your head and you still do the opposite thing, what's the point? Why even root for these characters if they're going to act stupid? Now, I understand that in real life situation, that's going to be human nature, and I'm not faulting anybody for that. But for a film that where you want to root for the characters and they still do the stupid decisions that they do, I mean, how the hell are you supposed to do that if they keep on doing that same thing over and over and over again? To where you have this one character that where the sign says, don't be a fool, don't go in that room, don't go in that elevator, don't do this, don't do that, but they still do this, do that, do this, and do the opposite of what was being shown to them and what was being warned to them. You're sitting there just wanting to scream at the screen and just say, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing that when you could very easily do this? And why are you doing this when you very could easily be doing this? And it's like, just, what the hell? So it's like, it just becomes mind-numbingly annoying to where you still have these characters that, when it's right in front of their face, they still do the opposite. And it's like, damn it. And to make sense of the final two negatives, I've got to put it in this order. This movie really isn't that much for me, and I've been saying this for a while, that demon possession movies or haunted movies aren't really my thing because we get so much of them over and over, and it's just something that we have seen countless of times. Now, I've said this, unless it's Evil Dead, I'm just not that much into supernatural horror films. And I don't mean to sound biased here, but even though that there are certain moments in this film, in Tarot, to where I actually did enjoy, it's just something that I've seen over and over. These group of kids gets cursed by these objects, and these demons comes for them one by one. We've seen that countless of times before, and it's just nothing new. And it doesn't bring anything fresh. It doesn't know how to have fun with it like Evil Dead does. Even though Evil Dead is a cliche within itself, you could probably say that, but at least that knows how to have fun with it. Something like Tarot or Night Swim doesn't. Which brings me to the rating. There are many reasons why a movie like this should have that hard R rating. And let me explain something to you without getting into any spoilers. There were certain scenes in this to where you could definitely tell that they were holding back relentlessly. This was in the trailer, so I'm not ruining anything. But there's a scene where a lady gets killed by a ladder, and you see blood splatter on the phone, but that's it. But leading up to that, you could tell that they were really holding themselves back. There was shots to where you could easily show a little bit more gore. And for gorehounds like myself, that was really disappointing. And it got really annoying. It got almost to the point where it made me tear my hair out. Yeah. And there's other death scenes too, which I won't get too much into. But one involved a saw, which really got to me. And it just infuriated me. It made me think of that scene in Leprechaun 3 to where it just went batshit crazy because that was an R rating. And I know it's different, but still, it's the same kill. And it's like they didn't live up to its potential. Which is one of the reasons why movies like this aren't really that much for me. I'm not saying that every PG-13 horror film out there is bad. I mean, I actually did like Imaginary. But still, if you want to show gore, or even just a little splatter, just go nuts. Just go for it. Why do you have to handcuff it? Why do you have to handcuff it so much to where you have to hold it back? Don't. Just don't. Okay, so rant over. Point being, this movie, despite what I just said, it wasn't as bad. Believe me, it wasn't as bad. Especially as much as I hated Night Swim, Tarot wasn't as bad as that. It's just my opinion, but it wasn't that bad. Bottom line, I actually had a good time in this. Like I said, this was kind of a surprise. I was expecting to hate it just as much as I did Night Swim, if not more. Every time when a movie like this comes out, I question it. It's sad, but it is true. I question it. But if I'm being honest, I'd rather go back to something like Abigail than something like this. Tara wasn't perfect, but it wasn't the worst I've seen. But I'll go ahead and say it. It was a happy accident. It was one of those horror movies that I could probably watch again, but it wouldn't kill me if I never did. Yeah. So Tara, what was your thoughts on this? Are you a fan of this? Were you somebody that was surprised on how good it was? Are you somebody that walked out of the theater and thought to yourself, damn, this was actually quite good? Or are you somebody that just hated it and is just done with movies like this completely? Leave me a comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this. I really do appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. Make sure to click that bell icon so you don't miss a thing. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.